Discovered, a heartwarming love story between a crude banker and an amazing deaf snack vendor. Jake strutted through the bustling streets of Chicago, a sharp businessman leashed to his ambition, thoughts consumed by profit margins and quarterly reports. He wore a tailored suit like armor, eyes shielded from the lives cascading around him. In the whirl of pedestrians and honking taxis, he was an ocean of focus in a sea of distractions. But there was something remarkable about today. Something electrifying. Mia was setting up her snack stand, a vibrant splash of color amid the muted gray of the city. Her homemade treats, made with love and memories, drew smiles from the locals. Proudly deaf since birth, she embodied resilience and radiated joy, her laughter bright as sunshine. But to Jake, she was just another figure on the sidewalk, a fleeting memory of someone he brushed past on his path to corporate glory. As the days flowed, Jake grew accustomed to that smile and laughter, though he dismissed their significance. Mia's world stirred something inside him he couldn't quite place, a sparkle unseen through the gloom of profit-driven thoughts. But that all shifted when the news hit like a thunderclap. The bank he worked for planned to gentrify Mia's neighborhood. Her beloved snack stand would be swept away in the tide of development, crushed beneath concrete and greed. His pulse quickened when he saw Mia that day. She stood outside her stall with a dazed look, heart-wrenching fear dancing in her eyes. The lively street fell silent, whispers of sorrow hung in the air like smoke. The loyalty of her customers, families connected by shared snacks and smiles, collapsed before his eyes. At that moment, his indifference shattered. This was no longer just a business decision, it felt personal. Hold on. He thought, a sensation of guilt rising from his gut. He watched her rally her friends around her stand, holding tight to one another, a circle of hope against the looming storm. Tears pricked his eyes as he desperately sought understanding. He felt a surge of respect for Mia, for the community spirit woven in her every gesture. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that is happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let us continue. Confrontation with his superiors only revealed the hard shell he had formed around his heart. When they dismissed his pleas for compassion with chilly indifference, Jake's spirit wavered. How could he sit back and watch in silence? With each day that passed, the weight of the burgeoning crisis pressed against him like a vice. Mia was not just a vendor, she was a lifeline for many. And while he had been chasing numbers, they shattered against the stark truth of human connection. The narrowing walls of the corporate environment seemed paler against the vibrancy of Mia's community, the open laughter, the shared stories, a beautiful resilience combating oppression. Suddenly, an eviction notice pinned like a nail in the public eye, cast shadows over Mia's spirit. Jake needed to act but felt caught in the web of ambition and greed. Her tear-filled gaze met his, that silent plea binding them together. Would he step into the light she represented, choosing love over ambition? Or turn back, surrendering to the darkness of ruthless corporate games? The choice hung heavy in the air, one decision poised to change everything. Jake paced his office like a caged animal, frustration bubbling inside him. The sterile walls of the bank felt oppressive, cold reminders of the decisions being made without regard for people's lives. Every phone call, every meeting, felt empty and hollow. He couldn't shake Mia's face from his mind. The sadness in her eyes was a mirror reflecting his own growing disquiet. That evening, he found himself loitering outside her snack stand. The sun dipped low, painting the sky in strokes of orange and pink. Mia's stand, aglow with fairy lights, stood defiant amid the encroaching shadows. Jake hesitated, the familiar wall of corporate protocol whispering caution, but he shook it off. This was personal now. As he approached, Mia noticed him, her lips breaking into a smile. Though they had scarcely shared words, the warmth in her gaze felt like an invitation. Jake felt an odd exhilaration. He had watched her bring joy to countless strangers, and here he was, about to confront the very system threatening her happiness. Making his way to her stand felt like stepping onto foreign ground, where something pure awaited him. "Mia," he started, his voice catching in his throat. She looked up, eyes sparkling with curiosity. He gestured awkwardly for her to join him outside. With a trusting smile, she set down a tray of her famous snacks and stepped into the dimming light. Her hands moved in fluid sign language, a language he never learned. He wished he could understand, wished he could jump into her world. But in that moment, he realized she didn't need him to speak. Her smile said enough, bringing a flash of hope through him. I'm really sorry about what's happening," he admitted, words tumbling out with sincerity. Mia's expression shifted, concern etched across her features. He fumbled through his pockets for something more tangible, more meaningful to show her his own connection to this fight. Finding an old napkin, he scribbled, "How can I help?" Mia picked up the napkin, her eyes flickering to his, filled with tenderness tinged by the weight of uncertainty. They stood there, the world around them fading into an indistinct blur. Slowly, she pointed to her stand, then made a fist, her face a mask of determination. "We fight," he interpreted, the very electricity of her words crackling in the air. Jake's heart raced at her resolve. "We fight," he repeated, the phrase igniting something deep within him. A plan began to form. If Mia was ready to fight for her dreams, then so would he. He vowed to gather resources, reach out to community members, and rally support much like a general preparing for battle. But where would this lead him? What if he pushed against the very institution he had spent years building a career in? Doubt crept in, but the thought of Mia losing everything she fought for hardened his resolve. This was about more than business, it was about heart, the beating pulse of a community ignited by love and hope. "Meet me tomorrow," Jake said, his voice steadier. "We'll talk strategy." The flicker of hope in Mia's eyes made his chest swell with determination. But inside, he wondered if he was stepping into a storm he was utterly unprepared for. As they shared a soft smile, the comforting crowd noise swelled around them, laughter rising like a melody. A plan was unfolding, but Jake could feel the weight of the unknown hanging over him. Could he truly straddle the line between corporate ambition and heartfelt connection? Would he risk it all for her a world apart? But now pulling him in, the next day would be crucial. The battle was beginning, and Jake knew he had to be all in, but would he break free from his past to fight for her future? The sun rose the next morning, casting soft light through the window of Jake's office. He stared at the spreadsheet strewn on his desk, numbers blurred in his mind. His thoughts were consumed by Mia and the looming battle they faced. Every cell he looked at seemed to mock him, reminders of the cold calculations he had grown accustomed to. But now, they felt like shackles. He cleared his throat, took a deep breath, and plunged into planning. He grabbed a notepad, furiously jotting down ideas that had started to swirl in his head since their conversation. He wrote down everything: potential partners, community organizations, even a grassroots social media campaign. Each idea felt more plausible than the last. They painted a picture of hope, one that made his heart beat faster and filled him with determination. As Jake immersed himself in the planning, his phone buzzed, cutting through the cloud of inspiration. A message from Mia: "Ready when you are." His stomach fluttered. This was it. They were stepping into uncharted territory together. When they met at her stand, Mia greeted him with a grin that was both warm and reassuring. She was busy setting up her space, arranging her snacks with precision. He admired her focus, the way she poured heart into every detail, and it sparked something deep within him. She pointed to the sign above her stand, which read "Made with Love." And he couldn't help but smile at the irony. Love, something that had been missing from his structured life for so long, was glaringly present here. "Mia," he began, excitement creeping into his voice. He laid out the ideas he had scribbled, watching as her eyes sparkled with interest. They communicated through gestures and laughter, drawing out each plan, each detail, breathing life into them together. Mia's enthusiasm was contagious. Her laughter echoed like music in the air, and with each passing moment, Jake felt more at ease, rediscovering parts of himself he thought he'd lost. They discussed strategies to reach out to the community, building networks of support within local businesses and residents. He imagined flyers, community meetings, and even pop-up events centered around her stand. He felt like a conductor of symphony, orchestrating a melody of voices united against the oppressive silence of the bank's greed, but amidst the buzz of excitement, doubts would creep in. What if they failed? What if he went too far and lost his job? Each thought felt heavy, but Mia's steady presence soothed the intrusive worry. Whenever his thoughts spiraled into fear, she'd catch him with a steady gaze, grounding him. "I believe in us," she would sign, her fingers dancing gracefully, and he felt that belief wrap around him like a warm blanket. As the day stretched on, they talked about fundraising ideas. Mia suggested a community cook-off, a festivity that could draw in people and local media. The thought ignited something in Jake, a flicker of excitement that grew into a roaring fire when she animatedly described it. Ideas flitted back and forth, and soon, it was less about strategy and more about sharing a vision. As they wrapped up planning for the day, Jake looked at Mia, a tinge of awe filling him. "You really have a way of making everything seem possible," he admitted, feeling raw and vulnerable in that moment. Mia tilted her head, eyes sparkling, and signed back, "Together, we are strong." The weight of that truth hit him right in the chest. Together, they could navigate the storm ahead. But the question lingered: what would that storm bring? Would it change everything they knew? As twilight glimmered on the horizon, the first breaths of uncertainty began creeping back in, mixing with the thrill of possibility. What if their efforts were crushed under the weight of corporate greed? That night, as Jake sat quietly at his desk, a sudden realization coursed through him. He was standing on the edge of a choice that could alter not only Mia's life but his own as well. Would he be brave enough to cross that line? The next day would demand courage, and as he stared out into the darkness, a whisper echoed in his heart: this fight was only just beginning. The morning light poured in through Jake's window, but today felt heavier. The spreadsheets were still there, but they now took on a different nature, a backdrop to his swirling thoughts rather than the center of his universe. He was fueled by yesterday's excitement but also tethered by a gnawing fear. What if their plans didn't work out? What if they faced backlash from the bank? As he drove to meet Mia, his hands gripped the steering wheel tighter. He replayed their conversations in his mind, trying to drown out the doubts creeping in. "We can fight this," he whispered to himself, a mantra against the storm on the horizon. When he arrived at the farmer's market, the smell of fresh produce and baked goods filled the air. It was bustling. Families strolled hand in hand, children laughed and tugged at their parents' shirts. Jake spotted Mia setting up her stand, the vibrant colors of her snacks standing out like a beacon. She was animated, greeting customers with her sunny demeanor, and his heart lightened at the sight. "Mia!" he called out, rushing over. She turned, her face lighting up as she waved. It was infectious. The worries faded just a bit. "Ready to tackle the day?" she signed, her movements fluid and confident. "More than ever," he replied, taking a moment to marvel at her. She had this ability to bring out the courage hidden within him. They started discussing their plans as customers came to buy her treats, and he couldn't help but smile at how effortlessly she managed to engage everyone, showing that her world was one of warmth and connection despite its challenges. The morning quickly turned into a brainstorming session as they discussed a cook-off event, sketching out ideas on scraps of paper amidst her snack wrappers. Jake thought about how to source ingredients from local farmers and ways to draw media attention. They bounced ideas off each other with thrills in their voices, each proposal sparking new thoughts. "Let's create a social media challenge," he suggested excitedly. "We can ask people to share their favorite childhood recipes and offer a prize for the most creative." "Yes." Mia signed enthusiastically, her energy contagious. "That will bring everyone together, and I know people will love the idea." But just as the excitement bubbled, Jake's phone pinged a reminder for a meeting with his boss that afternoon. The oppressive weight of tension settled back in his chest. He pushed it away, focusing instead on Mia's laughter, ringing clear like a song. "We'll make this work, right?" he asked, looking straight into her expressive eyes. "Together, we can." She signed, her confidence igniting a spark in him. Still, doubt clung to him as night unfolded. The meeting loomed in his mind like a storm cloud. In that small board room, the tone would be sharp and chilling. Wouldn't he understand his connection to Mia, why this mattered so much? As he veered home, he wondered if they were prepared for whatever backlash might come. Would support for Mia's stand rally a community around them, or would the bank's power quash their dreams before they could even take flight? He dreamt that night images of the cook-off, filled with faces of neighbors and laughter, but they quickly twisted into flashes of his boss's stern face, warning him to back off. Jake tossed in bed, caught between the thrill and fear of what lay ahead. Morning would bring tough choices and words that could shift everything. His heart thundered as he grappled with how far he was willing to go. The truth was, he was in too deep now, and he couldn't back out. Would he risk everything for Mia and this cause? The fight was shaping up to be bigger than either of them imagined. As dawn approached, he took a deep breath, knowing the moment of truth was on the horizon. What would he choose when push came to shove? Jake's heart pounded as he pulled into the office parking lot the next morning. The weight of the day pressed down on him like a lead blanket. As he stepped out of the car, the crisp air filled his lungs, offering a brief moment of clarity. He scanned the facade of the bank, its stone exterior a monument to power and authority. But he was determined to face whatever came next head-on. Inside, the usual hum of the office seemed different. Colleagues passed by without their usual small talk, engrossed in their work. Jake felt the tension in the air matching the storm brewing in his chest. He dove into his tasks, a flurry of numbers and projections that meant nothing compared to Mia's dreams. Each report felt heavier, each call more draining. He locked himself in his cubicle, drowning in spreadsheets as if they could shield him from the outside world. Then came the ping of his calendar reminder: meeting time. He took a deep breath and opened the door, stepping into the conference room. It was bright, the fluorescent lights harsh against his skin. His boss, Mr. Collins, was already there, arms crossed and expression steely. Around the table, fellow executives flipped through reports, their eyes sharp and critical. "Jake," Mr. Collins began, his voice cutting through the silence. "We need to discuss your recent activities." His stomach twisted. This was at the reckoning for his commitment to Mia's stand. He could hear his own heart racing as he met Mr. Collins' gaze. "I believe in what I'm doing, sir. It's for a good cause, a local business that can benefit the community." The room's atmosphere shifted slightly, glances exchanged like flickering shadows. "You mean you're promoting against the bank's interests?" Mr. Collins shot back, the intensity piercing through Jake. "No, I'm advocating for small businesses. There's potential here, a way to connect our community," Jake replied, his voice sobering as he took a step forward. "Potential?" Collins raised an eyebrow. "You realize the bank has policies for a reason. This isn't the time to deviate from our goals." But in this whirlwind of words, Jake found clarity. Images of Mia laughing, of her snacks bringing smiles to the market, flashed in his mind. They were real, the excitement was tangible, and he couldn't let it slip through his fingers. "With a strong community, we can build something meaningful. Our customers are more than just numbers, they have stories. They want to support each other." Silence fell, heavy and stifling. The executives exchanged looks, and for a moment, Jake dared to hope. Maybe they'd see it his way, but Mr. Collins leaned back in his chair, a smirk creeping onto his face. "You're young, Jake, filled with idealism. But do you really think these people will support you? This isn't just some dream, it's business." The words felt like ice. Confusion clawed at him. Was he really that naive? Did he truly believe the community would rally behind him? What if he was fighting a losing battle? Jake pulled in a breath, forcing the self-doubt down deep. "I can't abandon Mia and all she's building," he replied, steadier now, the edge in his voice sharper. "She believes in this. I believe in this." The room was thick with tension, conversations about profitability and risk swirling around him like a cyclone. Would they squish Mia's dreams before they even saw the light of day? Jake clenched his fists, a fire igniting further within. "Then you'll need to choose your path wisely," Collins warned. "You're risking your position here for what? A cook-off?" With that, the meeting ended. Jake exited, feeling the weight of the world on his shoulders. What would the future hold for him and Mia? Their dreams felt more fragile than ever, yet at this moment, they were still alive. He reached for his phone, fingers trembling as he scrolled through his messages. What if he told Mia how this meeting had gone? Would it crush her? Or would they stand together, united against the storm? As he debated, his phone rang. It was Mia. His chest tightened with anticipation. What would her voice spark this time? "Jake, can we meet?" she asked, her tone bubbly yet urgent. "I have an idea for our event." His heart leaped, but underneath excitement, doubt whispered. What if this would lead them into deeper waters? "Of course," he replied, though uncertainty flickered within. As he headed out, he couldn't shake off the feeling that their battle was just beginning. With every step he took, the world around him faded. He had to decide: fight for what was right or play it safe. What would he risk next for Mia's dream? The weight of that question hung heavily, clinging to him like a shadow. Would this meeting change the course of their plans forever, or could they still find a way to turn this storm into something beautiful? Jake parked his car near the popular park where he and Mia had brainstormed ideas before. Nervous energy twisted in his gut. He could feel the hum of excitement, but it was all tangled up with fear. What if her idea was just another dream, one that could crumble under the harsh reality he now faced? He glanced at his phone as he walked toward her usual spot. No new messages. Just the usual quiet buzz of anticipation. As he approached, he spotted her setting up a vibrant display of colorful snacks. The sun caught the glint of various jars filled with candies, gourmet popcorns, and homemade treats. Her smile lit up the space, bright, infectious, and full of determination. For a moment, all his worries faded. How did she always manage to make the world seem so vibrant? To him, she was a beacon of hope in an otherwise gray landscape. "Jake," she called, her hands waving to catch his attention. She moved with ease, the gentle breeze teasing her hair. "I'm so glad you could come." "Hey, Mia," he replied, his heart softening as he neared her. "I got your message." She looked at him intently, her eyes sparkling with an infectious energy. "I have a fantastic idea for the market. But first, I want to know how your meeting went." Jake hesitated. He owed her honesty, yet the weight of Mr. Collins' words clung to him like a dark shadow. But he couldn't bear the thought of crushing her spirit. He took a deep breath instead. "It went okay. They had their concerns, but I stood my ground," he confessed, searching her eyes for reassurance. "Stood your ground?" she echoed, though her smile dimmed slightly. "What did they say?" "We talked about risks and profitability. You know how it is." He wanted to shield her from the harsh realities, to keep the joy alive just a bit longer. "But I believe in this, Mia. I believe in us." She studied him, her brow furrowed in thought. "I know they're challenging, but we can find a way to show them what the community truly needs. If we can get the local bloggers and food critics involved, we could create something big." Her enthusiasm bubbled over, and Jake felt his heart lift. "What do you have in mind?" he asked, his worries mixing with curiosity. Mia gestured animatedly as she spoke, her hands crafting visual images that were almost as vivid as her words. "A community cook-off. We can invite vendors from all over. Build a festival vibe. Music, food, fun. It'll show the bank exactly how strong the community can be." Her excitement was magnetic, and Jake felt himself smiling despite the pressures weighing on him. "That sounds amazing, Mia." But he hesitated, the cautious voice in his mind creeping back in. "What if they don't go for it?" "Then we'll fight for it," she responded, confidence radiating from her like an aura. "If we don't try, we'll never know." "I can't do it without you, Jake. We can pull the community together and make a statement." Jake met her gaze, the passion in her voice flickering like a flame igniting something within him. For Mia, he would face the bank, risk everything. Yet, doubt nagged at him. Could they truly rally everyone around them for this? "Okay," he finally said, determination wrapping around his heart like a warm blanket. "Let us do it. Let us show them what we can build." Mia beamed, her excitement palpable. "Really? Then we can start planning right away." As they dove into plans, the world around them came alive. Kids played nearby, laughter floating on the breeze, and the aroma of delicious treats wrapped around them. In that moment, Jake felt hope, a glimmering possibility that perhaps they could turn this tumult into something beautiful. But as they shared ideas, a new thought crept in. What would Mr. Collins think when they sprang this surprise on him? Jake's heart raced. Would this bold move be what it took to shake things up, or would it lead to more trouble? Just as Mia suggested another exciting idea, Jake's phone buzzed again, a message from Mr. Collins. "We need to discuss your future." A chill ran down his spine. The stakes were rising, and so were the challenges. What would he say when the time came to face the music? Would they withstand the fallout, or could this cook-off be the start of everything? The sun was setting now, casting a golden hue over the park. Shadows stretched and merged as Jake and Mia sat cross-legged on the grass, their heads bent together over a notepad covered in scrawled ideas. False starts, corrections, and quick sketches poured out of them. There was an exhilarating sense of collaboration building between them, like they shared a secret mission. "Okay, let me get this straight," Jake said, chuckling as he tapped the pencil against the page. "We want to have food trucks dotted throughout the park, live music by the gazebo, and a giant banner that says cook-off for the community?" "Exactly." Mia's eyes gleamed as she spoke. "And we can partner with all the local nonprofits. Perhaps they could set up booths to share their messages. It's not just about food. It's about unity." In that moment, he couldn't remember the last time he had felt this alive. Their laughter mingled into the sounds of children giggling on swings and dogs barking in the distance. Yet, under the warmth of Mia's excitement, a weight settled on Jake's chest. The thought of his meeting with Mr. Collins loomed large, casting a shadow on their bright plans. "Hey," Mia's voice broke through his thoughts. "Are you alright? You seem a bit distant." He looked up at her, the way her face crinkled with worry and genuine care twisting his heart. "I'm here, just thinking about how much we have on the line with this cook-off. I can't help but worry about what the bank might say." Mia reached out, placing her hand over his encouragingly. "That's the risk we take, Jake. Sometimes you have to leap before you look. Trust that we're doing this together, okay?" He nodded, her solid strength lifting a bit of that weight off his chest. Just at that moment, a group of kids came running past, throwing a frisbee between them, their laughter ringing like tiny bells. He smiled, feeling a flicker of determination. As they continued brainstorming, new ideas bounced back and forth like a tennis match. Jake's spirits began to rise. What about adding a prize for the best food? We could get local businesses to donate something cool, a cooking class, or a night out at a popular restaurant. That's bound to draw attention. That's perfect. Mia exclaimed, her hands flying to his arm in excitement. And we can use social media to spread the word, get the buzz going. I have a friend who's a blogger, she'd love to help us promote it. Jake's heart swelled with hope at the thought of this growing movement. He couldn't shake the concern looming in the background, but Mia was right. If they succeeded, if they truly pulled this off, it could change everything. That as time slipped by, Jake's phone buzzed again, interrupting their spirits as he reluctantly checked it. The message was there, stark and cold. "Let us meet tomorrow at 3 p.m. We need to talk." He felt a knot in his stomach. "I have a meeting with Mr. Collins tomorrow." Mia's smile faltered slightly, her expression shifting to concern. "What do you think he wants to talk about?" "Probably about my proposal for the cook-off," he replied, his heart racing. Jake realized he'd have to face the man who had always seen numbers over dreams. What if he shoots it down before we even get started? Then we give him a reason to listen. "Show him what this means to us," she urged, her confidence unwavering. Jake grasped her hands, feeling warmth radiating from her touch. It was a lifeline in stormy waters. "You're right. I'll explain everything. I need to fight for this." Mia held his gaze, the fervor in her eyes igniting a spark inside him. They were embarking on a quest to not only change the community but also to find their place within it, together. As they began to pack up, the evening air thickened with a mix of excitement and anxiety. Jake's thoughts whirled faster than the autumn leaves begin to fall. "Whatever happens tomorrow, we stick together, right?" he asked, hoping for reassurance. "Always," she said firmly, the strength of her promise sending warmth through him. "Okay," he said, taking a deep breath. "Let us make sure this cook-off aligns with everything we believe in." As they rose, ready to leave the park, Jake couldn't shake the feeling of uncertainty pulsing through him. Tomorrow could change everything, a leap into the unknown where hope and fear would collide. And just as they walked away, Mia suddenly stopped, her eyes wide. What if we made the cook-off interactive? Like a contest, not just for vendors, but also for the community to create their own dishes? It could be huge. Jake's heartbeat quickened at her words, visions of community unity filling his head. "That's brilliant, Mia. We could really engage people." A rush of exhilaration struck him as they continued down the path. But with every step, the question loomed larger: would Mr. Collins embrace their vision, or would it all shatter before them? The next day dawned gray and damp, clouds hanging low in the sky as if they too felt the weight of anticipation. Jake sat in his car outside the bank, hands trembling against the steering wheel. His thoughts raced, images of Mia's passion and the excitement of their plans swirling in his mind. She had said it perfectly: they were fighting for more than just a cook-off. It was about embracing their community, standing up for shared dreams. That he took a deep breath, glancing at his reflection in the rearview mirror. The glimmer of hope in his eyes mingled with unease. Was he ready to face Mr. Collins, a man who wore his skepticism like a badge of honor? After a moment, he stepped out of the car, the crisp air biting at his face. Each step toward the bank felt heavy, yet his pulse quickened with every stride. He entered the building, greeted by the sterile environment of shiny floors and fluorescent lights, a stark contrast to the warmth of the park where he and Mia had shared their dreams. "Jake," Mr. Collins' voice cut through the space like a knife. The banker sat behind an imposing desk, his expression serious as always. "You're on time. Thanks for meeting with me." Jake fumbled through the papers in his folder, trying to steady his nerves. I really appreciate this opportunity." Mr. Collins adjusted his glasses, a deliberate move that sent Jake's anxiety spiraling. "You know, I don't usually support projects without a solid financial return. Convince me that this cook-off is worth the risk." Jake swallowed hard, his mind racing back to the vision he and Mia created together, the way it could bring people together, revive the local spirit. "This isn't just about profit, Mr. Collins. It's about community. People have become so divided lately. We've lost our connection, and this cook-off could bring it back. Imagine all the families coming together, local chefs sharing their passion, and nonprofits spreading awareness. It's a chance to unify us." Mr. Collins pinched the bridge of his nose, as if trying to process Jake's words. "Unity is great, but it doesn't pay the bills. I need to see numbers, projections show me why I should invest in a cook-off. Jake felt the weight on his chest return. His heart raced, words eluding him. He took a deep breath and leaned forward, drawing from the fire that Mia had ignited in him. Because this isn't just an event. It's the spark that could reignite this community. It's about hope. People want to come together. They want to support each other. There's potential for sponsorships, and we can build partnerships, it can grow. Mr. Collins studied him, his skeptical gaze piercing through Jake. And what if it fails? What if you end up losing money? The question lingered in the air like a cold chill. For a moment, Jake hesitated, doubt creeping in. But then he recalled how Mia had squeezed his hand at the park, filled with belief. "I'd rather try and fail than always wonder what might have been," he said, his voice firm. "This community deserves a chance." As silence enveloped the room, Jake felt as if the walls were closing in. Would Mr. Collins see the truth behind his words? Would he understand the heart behind this endeavor? Finally, Mr. Collins let out a deep sigh and leaned back in his chair. "I'll look at your proposal. However, if I'm going to take this risk, I need to see a more concrete plan. You have 1 month to prove that this can work." Relief washed over Jake, a tidal wave of emotion flooding his senses. "Thank you. I want to let you down." As he exited the bank, a mixture of anxiety and excitement filled him. He couldn't wait to share the news with Mia. It felt like their first victory, a feather in their cap on the road to something greater, but as he walked through the parking lot, uncertainty loomed again. 1 month. Could they rally enough support? Could they turn their dreams into reality? Gripping his phone tight, he texted Mia eagerly, "I think we have our chance. But we need to move fast." Suddenly, the phone vibrated in his pocket. He pulled it out. Mia's text read, "Just received some news that could change everything." Jake's heart raced. What could it be? There was a fire in his chest as he hurried to his car, the drive back feeling lighter yet charged with urgency. Whatever lay ahead, he knew one thing for certain, they were in this together. But as he pulled out of the lot, the horizon ahead loomed uncertain, and with every passing moment, Jake wondered if they truly had what it would take to make this cook-off a reality. What awaited them at the other end of this challenge? Jake's fingers danced nervously over the steering wheel as he navigated the familiar streets. Each stoplight felt like an eternity, his mind racing to guess at what Mia's news might entail. A million thoughts bubbled up. What if someone wanted to join them? What if they found a major sponsor? Or maybe there was a brand new idea that could make the cook-off even more engaging. The car turned and pulled into Mia's favorite diner, a cozy little spot, draped in vibrant red and white. The nostalgic scent of coffee and bacon wafted through the air, pulling him in. He spotted Mia through the window, her hair caught by the sunlight that dared to break through the clouds, illuminating her infectious smile. She was waving excitedly, her hands moving fast as she signed, already animated about something. As he stepped inside, her excitement was palpable. "Jake! You'll never guess what just happened." Her enthusiasm was infectious. The anxiety that had gripped him began to ebb away. They slid into a booth, and Mia, beaming, squeezed his hand tightly. "The local charity for families in need, they want to partner with us. They loved our idea and think the cook-off could raise a lot of awareness and funds." Jake's heart soared. "That's incredible. How did they find out about us?" "They heard from a friend who volunteers with them." "I think we have greater vision than we realized," she exclaimed. A spark ignited in Jake, the kind that came with renewed hope and possibility. This could really make a difference. We could invite families to apply for assistance, showcase local businesses, and endorse their needs during the event. What about food truck vendors? She jotted down notes eagerly. We can fill the park with flavors. People love food, and they love giving back. Excitement bubbled in the air, the kind that made everything seem possible. Plans cascaded between them, urgency fueling their creativity. But Jake knew that ideas without a solid framework would only take them so far. "Mia, we need to organize everything. The budget, the timeline, getting all the chefs and sponsors involved. We have so much to do in just 1 month. He paused, the weight of reality settling in. What if we can't pull it all together? She tilted her head, her playful smile unwavering but a glimmer of concern flickering in her eyes. Then it'll be a step forward, right? We can adapt. This is about the effort. And I believe in us. Something clicked inside him then. Yes, they could stumble and fall, but it felt right. They had something to offer their community, a chance for togetherness. With renewed resolve, they spent the next few hours brainstorming, sketching out plans, and creating lists. Jake felt as if they were building a blueprint for hope, brick by brick. They made a timeline for every task that had to be accomplished, and it all gleamed with promise, but as the afternoon turned to evening, Jake's phone buzzed unexpectedly. It was a message from Mr. Collins. Our bank wants to meet again. We need to discuss the cook-off proposal further. Tension prickled up Jake's spine. Did this mean he was losing their first approval after all? Why the heck are they messaging you again? Mia asked, catching his unease. I don't know, but I have a gut feeling. I just hope it's not bad news, he replied, determination flooding his veins even as doubt clawed at him. Whatever it is, we face it together. Her hand gripped his knee, steadying him. He nodded, her strength anchoring him again. Together. But as they prepared to steel themselves for the next challenge, Jake's mind drifted. Would they be able to prove their vision true? Would they really win over a man as hard as Mr. Collins? A knot formed in his stomach as he wondered if everything they built could come crashing down. And as they looked toward the future, neither of them could shake the feeling that everything was hanging by a fragile thread. The following day dawned bright and bustling. Jake felt a wave of anticipation mixed with anxiety as he made his way to the same diner where he and Mia had shared dreams. His heart raced. Today was pivotal. Today, they would present their vision for the cook-off to Mr. Collins. When he arrived, Mia was already there, her snack cart just outside the diner, vivid against the backdrop of green trees. She was chatting animatedly with a local mother and her kids, her laughter ringing like bells. The moment she spotted Jake, her face lit up, and he felt a surge of warmth wrap around him like a hug. Hey, Jake. I'm so glad you made it. She signed, excitement radiating from her. Ready? Jake asked, a nervous smile dancing on his lips. Ready. She signed back, and together, they made their way to the bank. Walking into the building felt like stepping into a lion's den. The air was thick with tension, and as they reached the conference room, Jake's palms grew sweaty. Mr. Collins sat behind the same stern desk, flanked by a couple of other executives, all their faces carved from stone. Jake, Mia, welcome, Mr. Collins said, not bothering to conceal his skepticism. You wanted to discuss your proposal? Absolutely, Jake said, stepping forward. He picked up the stack of documents, his confidence rising. We've outlined a detailed plan for the community cook-off. Mia stepped beside him, her presence solidifying his resolve. She presented themselves as a united front. We want this to be about community, showcasing local businesses, and giving families the chance to connect. The executives exchanged glances, but Jake pressed on. He described their goals, their newly formed partnership with the local charity, and how this event could serve as a vehicle for change. This isn't just food or entertainment, it's about building bridges among residents, creating a space for unity. Imagine the stories we can present, the connections we can foster. Mia signed alongside him, her hands alive with emphasis. She directed attention to the plans they had created together, highlighting how sponsorships could tremendously benefit the bank's image. They could be heroes in the community. Mr. Collins, however, remained motionless. I understand the sentiment, but can you provide numbers? A plan this ambitious, Jake felt his heart sink, but Mia, sensing his unease, interjected. We'll obtain sponsorship commitments from local businesses and will also run promotions that highlight the bank's community involvement. It's mutually beneficial. A flicker of interest crossed Mr. Collins's face, but he quickly masked it, folding his hands. And if it fails? Then we adapt, Jake said, his voice gaining strength. But we'll never know unless we try. Lasting change requires courageous actions. We believe this is worth the risk. Silence filled the room as they all sat there, Jake and Mia holding their breath, eyes fixed on Mr. Collins. He eyed them, weighing choices. I'll consider your proposal, he finally said, leaning back in his chair. But remember, you have 1 month to show quantifiable progress. Jake exhaled, heart pounding. Thank you, he said, brimming with hope. It was vague but a glimmer of opportunity had surfaced, and he was ready to seize it. As they left the bank, Mia beamed, her joy spilling over like sunshine. I think we can do this. Every step we take matters. Together, Jake replied, looking into her eyes. Yes, together. She signed enthusiastically. Now felt like a new beginning, an open road stretching before them. They swiftly agreed upon the next steps, reaching out to food vendors, organizing a meeting with community members, crafting a campaign to rally support. Each action felt like building a stepping stone toward their goal. Days turned into weeks as the momentum built. They worked tirelessly, filling the park with color, laughter, and delicious smells from all the regional vendors joining them. Local blogger features began spreading the word that as people came together, joy erupted like fireworks. Families laughed, children raced through the spaces decorated with balloons and banners, and unity drifted in the air. 1 week before the cook-off, the community buzzed with excitement. On the day of the cook-off, the park was bustling with color, food stalls, and music, all alive with energy. Jake looked over at Mia, pride swelling in his chest like a beating drum. She worked tirelessly at her stand, laughter erupting as friends from the neighborhood joined in the festivities. This is everything you envisioned, Mia, Jake said, feeling emotions surge strongly. It's everything we envisioned, she corrected playfully, taking his hand, and in that simple touch, he felt forever changed. But then came the moment they had both feared. Mr. Collins appeared, accompanied by some bank executives. A hush fell among the crowd as they wondered what was happening. But instead of discouraging words, Mr. Collins cleared his throat and spoke, his tone surprisingly warm. Today shows the true power of community. You've done something special here. Cheers erupted around them. Jake and Mia exchanged glances, disbelief dancing in their eyes. I'm proud to announce that the bank will sponsor future events just like this one, Mr. Collins continued, and the crowd erupted with whoops of joy. In that moment, everything they fought for came to fruition. Joy and relief washed over Jake, tightening around him like a warm embrace. Mia squeezed his hand, tears of gratitude shimmering in her eyes. As the sun set, painting the sky in hues of orange and violet, laughter echoed through the park. They had fought together not only for a snack stand but for a community woven together by hope and resilience. Together, we made this happen, Jake whispered, eyes glistening with pride. Mia smiled, her heart full. This was only the beginning for them and their community. And as the stars dotted the night sky, they stood hand in hand, ready to face whatever came next together. Now, it's your turn. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to support the channel in every way possible. Only true fans understand the importance of doing so.